Welcome back to Building SY Mistress, everybody, on a beautiful morning after some heavy rain. The waters around here have remained dirty because we have had quite a bit of rain ahead of what will be the wet season here on the Sunshine Coast. So in this episode, it's all about marking out and then polyurethane top coating the decks, doing some cleanup jobs. I have my son come and help me. He was absolutely a saviour for getting this painting done in preparation for the launch. And as I've explained before, given that I'm doing the work solo here, getting film work done of the spray work is just not possible. I can't risk getting spray paint all over the camera. So in addition to the paint work, we get some other jobs done. For example, cleaning the anchor chain, which has been stored over all these years. We get the dinghy to the boatyard. I get the engine service for that at the same time, along with some other jobs. And then, if I thought the decks were the hard bit, goodness me, wait till you see the effort and the work regarding sanding and the prep work for getting below the waterline re-undercoated. That really was brutal work, a lot of overhead work with a sander, so yeah, strap in for that. And if you do enjoy this content, as always, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and as I always say, leave a comment because I enjoy reading what you've got to say. From a set of plans, to building her hull and decks, to fitting her out, as well as the myriad of other things required. With persistence and patience, learning along the way, and just not giving up. There's a couple of days of sanding where I'm going to be stripe painting over on top of that undercoat. It just takes a really light sand. I use 240 grit just to pretty much flatten the top of it. So that's now done. I've gone around also The spots where I couldn't actually get that undercoat on, I've actually cleaned up and put an epoxy undercoat by brush on all of those little spots. Apart from a wipe down with the wax and grease remover, it's a matter of just check the masking, blow it down, and then I'm so hopeful that this afternoon I can get the polyurethane top coating on. So, day after the stripe painting, I've done a big cleanup, removing all of that taping and masking up. Man, that did take a long time getting rid of all of that, then giving it a good vacuum. So come and have a look. The morning after the polyurethane stripe coating, that looks not too bad at all. Well, it's the morning after the polyurethane stripe coating on the decks, and I am so pleased that that is now behind me, because that was a massive job. With the undercoating and that top coating, that's a week and a half of solid work. But what I did want to also show you is, in order to get all that done, everything needed to be shut up in the boat here. And for that reason, I've had all these props scattered around the boat, making it so complicated and difficult and annoying to get around below here. And I'll show you what it looks like. Well, it's on to painting below the waterline. I got all of that stripe painting done, which is good. I'm happy with that. I haven't got the inside of the cockpit done though, so I still have that work to do. However, what I've decided to do is to come out here. I've got some help today. It's the weekend, so we're going to get all of this sanded and hopefully re-undercoated. And that's going to include the rudder, because not too soon ahead, I will need to start getting the bearings fitted, the rudder shaft in place, so that I've got steering for Mistress when she goes to the water. I have not seen the below here looking this clear and clean since she arrived. As soon as she did arrive, of course, a lot of stuff was packed underneath her, so it's really nice to be able to see her standing here on her own. And of course, it's going to give us nice clear access to do all the work that we need to do. Lovely. He started already. Come over here.
You mentioned it at lunch. It's late.
You got one.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you. Do you want?
Look out. It's a boy. Dingi for Mistress. Here, cleaned, outboard in the back. Things are happening. Thanks for your help, my son. You do realise that this is all going to be in an upcoming episode.
I guess I don't know.
Another beautiful morning here, thanking the gods for this beautiful weather. We've had such a great run of beautiful weather here. I'm so appreciative. Yesterday we got a lot done. It wasn't just sanding the boot stripe, we did a lot of stuff. Samuel helping me with heaps of things actually, and he did such a great day yesterday. He's coming back today, only for half a day unfortunately. But we've got a big day planned. The other thing we did yesterday was go and collect the dinghy, Mistress's tender, and the outboard for that dinghy, which I'll get serviced. I just don't have the time to do that myself, which I did want to do. So I've organised to get somebody else to give that a service so that that's all done and ready. So time is marching on, but here's how things look right now. So the boot stripes all sanded down on this side, on the starboard side, and when the dew eases up a bit, it'll be straight onto the port side. Samuel did a great job of giving the chain a good clean. Not that it needed much, amazingly it was in really clean condition for so many years. But that's all been cleaned. I got that as brand new 10mm short link chain. It's really nice seeing things so open and cleaned. Rudder there to be sanded, and that'll get another coat of the epoxy undercoat. Door aid vent boxes. Samuel's given them a clean up yesterday. I made those years ago. What's going on?
Can we get back to how I heard it before?
Do you reckon the heights are like that?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. This is an even better setting.
Oh, what? Better?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine do. Probably too deep. Not that, I'm sorry. Because I mean, essentially, I'll just be masking up just above this. So the more, the easier it is for.
Yeah. Put your hand up. Where's that? That's the one.
Good morning everybody. Another beautiful morning here, shaping up to be yet another about as perfect a day as you could ask for actually. This time of year on the sunny coast when the weather is basically it's normal is so beautiful. So it's going to be another day of sanding and I'm hoping that I can get this undercoat on today as well. Spray that on with the airless sprayer. I'm competing here with the morning birds. Most of the hull now is sanded. I've got underneath the plates here from the keel aft, and then there's a lot of little stuff to do just by hand with a bit of sandpaper on the chines just to smooth off the paint there where you would not use a sander. You wouldn't go near those with a sander, that's for sure, for the obvious reason that you'll take off all the paint. And then where that keel is joined onto the hull, the same sort of thing. I'm also trying to get the rudder undercoated. Everything crossed, as I always say. I'm so hopeful that I can get this on because this month is really moving on. I don't want to say I'm running out of time, but it's definitely on my mind. And to also say, this side of the boat actually got an extra coat of this Jotun epoxy undercoat, whereas the other side didn't, and that's why on this side, the starboard side, you can't see any of that filler of where I've sanded through the undercoat, exposing a bit of that filler that I put into the keel, whereas on the port side you can. We'll just move around the other side here and I'll just explain a couple of things about that port side of the keel, where I ended up putting a little bit of filler over a few holes. So let's move around there and I'll explain that. After I built Mistress, I actually haven't yet put any sort of filler over the hull to get a really moulded finish. What you see is the steelwork. There were a couple of little patches I did where, with a bit of distortion, where it really stood out from the rest of the build, and so I did decide to fill those small areas up with some filler. But otherwise, what you see is steelwork, sands, in other words, without any filler. That wasn't the case with the keel. Mistress's keel is 4mm plate on the sides, a 10mm plate on the bottom. She's got all the vertical floors in there to give the shape, and then of course filled with lead. I did all that myself. You can see a couple of pictures here. Like everything else, when I did the build, I was not taking very many pictures and certainly no video whatsoever, but the process of melting that lead and pouring it did distort the plating here pretty much along the length of the whole keel. So I did actually do a bit of a fairing job on this, and that's why you can see all these darker grey areas everywhere. That's just the epoxy filler. And the reason why this side is different to the other is because this has only got one coat of the Jotun undercoat, whereas on the other side I ended up getting 2 good thick coats on that. And I can say that looking at her now that she's mostly been sanded, man, she's come up a lot better than what she's been looking like. Rather daggy, I would say, for a long time. Now she's definitely coming into her own, I think. I can't wait to get this paintwork finished, and hopefully I can make her proud that I'm doing a good job, which I hope others can appreciate as well. And that's where this episode will need to end, everybody. That's 2 full days of editing. Once again, each stage of this repaint work involved huge amounts of work and effort, but with the launch date pressure on, with Samuel's fantastic help on weekends, we just pressed on every day. Me, with increasing stress and exhaustion. Till the next repaint episode.